Okay, welcome to the Business 313 project number 7, Office 2013 Excel Chapter 6, What If Analysis. So right now, if you could, please pause the video and download the instructions and the file from My IT Lab. Just log in with your username and password and log in, and then download the file like you've done for the other projects. To begin, Dr. Halverson suggested that what we need to do is make sure the add-in that we need at the end of this assignment is loaded on the computer. So instead of going all the way through and then seeing if we have the add-in loaded, we're going to check to see if we have the add-in loaded first, and then once we have it loaded, then we'll start from the beginning. Okay, so if you have your instructions, if you'd like to follow along, go to step number, one moment. Step number 17. So what we have to do is check for the solver add-in. So what we have to do is we go to File, click on File, and then go to Options at the very bottom of the menu on the left. And as you can see, the Excel options box opens. Go to Add-ins, look at the left menu, and as you can see, there are two sections. There's active application add-ins and there's inactive application add-ins. If your solver add-in is in the active section, then you're good to go. That means it's already loaded and you can do the assignment. However, if it's in the inactive application add-ins, you need to add it to the active. So to do that, you would highlight, let's say for instance we wanted to do this inquire. So you highlight it in the inactive, and then down here where it says manage Excel add-ins, you click go. But in this case it would be, instead of inquire, it would be solver add-in. So you click go, and then as you can see, an add-in options box pops up, and then solver add-in, you would just check the solver add-in and then click OK. So I'm just going to close it. So we have that loaded. Now what we have to do is start from the beginning, step 1. Okay, so we've already, step 1 is downloading the file, but once we download it, we have to save the file as a different name in order to upload it at the end when we finish. So click File, Save As, and then we want to change the file name. So we're going to find a location for it. In this case, I'm going to save it to a folder. I'm going to create a new folder for it. You can often do that if you're using, I'm just going to put my name on it, and then I'm going to open it, and in this folder I'm going to change the file name to, let's see, according to instructions, exploring underscore E06 C1 DANCE dance underscore, and then instead of last name we have to replace it with our last and first name. So last name is Kurihara. You would use your own last name, and then first name is Davis. And we save it as an Excel workbook. Click Save. As you can see on the top, it says exploring underscore E06 C1 dance underscore Kurihara Davis .xlsx. Okay, that's step 1. Now what we have to do is, and it's always good practice to save, so periodically save. What we want to do for step 2 is use GoalSeek to achieve a zero balance by changing the ticket price per person. So goal seek is a function on the data tab. What we need to do is achieve a zero balance by changing the ticket price. So if you look over here, there's ticket price per person. Scroll down a little. There are all these calculations that add up to income, and then there are expenses that add up to expenses, and then there's a formula that adds and subtracts both of these, and then you get a balance. In this case, with a ticket price of $75, there's a negative balance, meaning that the expenses exceed the income by 5,590. We want to make that zero. So to do that, what we need to do is click on the cell that we want. Let's see, go down to this. We want the balance cell. So we need to use goal seek. And from online research, I realized that it's on the data tab, and also from watching Dr. Halverson's presentation. So it's the data tab, and it's in the data tools group, what if analysis. Click on that, and then goal seek. Click on goal seek, and then it says, this box opens up, it says set cell, and then right now we have C34. That's the one we want to set. And we want to set it to 0, so we just add a 0 here. And we want to look by changing cell. So you can either click on this and then select the cell, or you can just scroll up and then click the cell that you want to change. So that, in this case, it's, you want to change the ticket price per person, because you want to use goal seek to achieve a zero balance by changing the ticket price per person. So you click in that, and then you click on ticket price per person, and then you click OK. As you can see, it changes the ticket price to $88.98, and it says that it found a solution, and that makes the income and the expenses the same and leaves you with a zero balance. Now I realize that I may not have all the full functionality that Dr. Halverson uses, but I'll try to enlarge the screen to 120, so you'll be able to see a little bit easier when you see the video. So that completes basically the second step. Now what we want to do is, for step 3, beginning in cell E3, complete the series of substitution values ranging from 200 to 500 at increments of 20 students vertically down column E. So what we have to do is put our cursor in cell E3, and we want to start with 200, so we just enter 200 in there. And as the instructions state, it's increments of 20 students, so that's 200 students. We want the next one to be 220. So in order to, this was a kind of a challenging part. In order to complete the series of substitution values, you need to highlight both cells, and then this pops up, this autofill thing. You want to click on the corner, not this box with the lightning bolt. Click on the corner and then drag down. As you can see, when you drag, it's incrementing by 20. It's completing the series of substitution values. So just fill in all the way to cell E18 and then let go. So as you can see, in increments of 20, it's completed all the values from 200 to 500. Moving on, what we need to do next is enter cell references to the total income, total expenses, and balance formulas in that order for one variable data table in cells F2, G2, and H2 respectively. To do this, what we want to do basically is, cell references are when you click on a cell and then you click the equal sign, and you're going to refer from this cell or from another cell to this cell. So basically, you want cell references for total income, so we click equal sign on F2 because that's what the instructions state, and then we scroll down to total income, which is over here, and we click it, and it says equals C20, and then you just hit enter, and then so it references that cell E20. When you click on this, or C20 rather, you see C20, and we do the same thing, equals, to find total expenses. We scroll down, total expenses are here, we hit enter, and it's C32. And for the last one, we want to hit equal sign, and then balance. the balance formula. So we're going to reference that cell. Hit enter, and we have the 3 values here. Next, what we want to do for the next step is apply custom number formats to make the formula references appear as the following. So for cell F2 you want it to say revenue, for G2 you want it to say expenses, and for H2 you want it to say balance. So custom number formats are, let me click in the first cell F2, are on the Home tab. You click Home tab, and then you see this number group. There's a little tab over here, you can click that, and the Format Cells option box comes up. Now we're in Custom Setting. We can just click on a general format. What you have to do in order to apply a custom number format to make the formula references, instead of appearing as numbers, appear as phrases, you have to delete this and then use quotes and type in, see, the first one for F2 would be revenue. So type in revenue and then end quote. And then as you can see, it says that's what the sample would look like. Click OK, and then revenue pops up. Next, what you want to do is the same thing. You click on the number tab, and then scroll up. We're on custom, general, delete, and then type in expenses, like that. Click OK, and then expenses populates there. Next is balance. You click there, click on the number tab, scroll up, general, delete this, and type balance, end quote. Okay, so now as you can see, we have revenue, expenses, and balance. And if you look at balance, it's C30, it's still referencing C34, expenses C32, and revenue C20. Next is a kind of tricky step. We're going to create a one variable data table. This is step 6. Create a one variable data table for the range E2 to H18. So let's highlight E2 right here to H18. It's basically like that, using the number of attendees as a column input cell. So to do this, we have that range highlighted. We go to the Data tab, Home tab, and then we want to look at what if analysis right here, and then we want data table. So it's the third option, data table. You click that, and what you want is use number of attendees as the column input cell. So you have row input cell and column input cell. So number of attendees, we put the cursor in column input cell because the instructions want column input cell, and we look over here, number of attendees is that. So we put before, and then all we do is click OK. As you can see, it populates the table with the values that you need. Next, what you want to do is format the results with accounting number format. So instead of all of these, because this is actually number of people, it's not a dollar value, and these are headings, you just want the values in your table. So you highlight those, and then you go to Home, and you can apply accounting number format. It's in the Home tab, the number group, and then the accounting number format. So you click that, and it puts dollar signs in front of everything. Anything that's negative goes in parentheses. And it also has to have 2 decimal places, and everything has 2 decimal places. Okay, next what we have to do for step 7 is copy the values in that we had created earlier with the substitution values. We want to copy that, the number of attendees, in cells E3 to E18. So E3 to E18, like that. Copy the number of attendee substitution values from the one variable data table, that's this one, in cells E3 to E18, and then paste values starting in cell E22. So over here, starting in E22, you just hit wait, maybe I didn't copy it. So highlight that, just these values, and then hit Control C, copies it, and then starting in E22, Control V, and it pastes. And then press Escape to get out of that. It has all the values from 200 to 400 or 500. For step 8, what we have to do is type $50, $50 in this first pink cell, or cell F21. So you go $50, and what we have to do is complete a series of substitution values from 50 to 100 at $10 increments. So a $10 increment of 50 would be $60, because it's $10 more. And then what we do is we highlight these two, and this box opens, but we click on the corner and we drag it over, and that basically completes a series of substitution values from 50 to 100 at $10 increments. Next, what we have to do is enter the cell reference to the balance formula. So again, we did cell references earlier. We want to enter the cell reference to the balance formula C34 in the cell E21 for a two variable data table. So two variable data table E21 is here. So to enter the cell reference, we put an equal sign, and we take the reference to C34. Perfect. We hit enter, and it just makes a reference to C34. And then what we have to do is complete the table using the same thing that we did for the one variable table, the same function. And we're going to use cell B9 as the row input and B4 as the column input. So what we have to do is highlight the table. So from there, the pink, down to here. Okay, good. Let's see if that's good. Good. And then we go to Data tab, What If Analysis, and then Data Table. So now we're going to have a two variable data table. B9 is the row input cell. So row input cell, you can just find B9. Click on that. And then the column input cell is B4. Click OK. And it should calculate all the values. Perfect. Okay. Moving on to step 10, we want to before we do that, step 9 requires us, in addition to creating the two variable data table, we need to format the results using the counting number format with 2 decimal places. So again, we don't want the dollar values here, and we don't want the number of attendees. We just want the output. So we highlight those, and we click the home and the accounting number format. As you can see, it changes all the puts dollar signs, and if it's negative, parentheses, positive, just has the numbers. Step 10 requires us to apply a red accent to lighter 60% fill color to the cells closest to break even without creating a deficit. So as you can see, these tables, these columns they're all deficits because they're negative. They're all negative. But as you move over here, let's see, right here, we get a value of 176, and that's a number that's close, very close to 0, but it's not creating a deficit. So what we do is we highlight that, and then if you look on the next column over, here's a deficit, but here's not a deficit. So we want to include that one. We press the Control key. So you've already highlighted this, you've clicked on it. Then you press Control, and then you click on the next one. And if you move over to the final column, you look up here, positive values. This one's the closest without, going negative. So again, you press the Control key, and you click. You see how all three of these are highlighted? Now we want to apply a fill. So if you look on the Home tab in the font group, there's this little like paint bucket thing. You click fill color, and then you look for a red accent 2. So I believe this is a red accent 2, and you want lighter 60%. Okay, so you click that and it adds it. I'm going to save it, so I'm going to press Control S. It saves my data. And then now I want to apply custom number format to cell E21 to display number 10. So let's look at E21. Remember what we did for the values up here to change the cell reference to a word instead of the actual value? What we need to do is go to the Home tab, and then custom number setting, it's the number group. We expand the option box, and we go up to General, and we just take that out, and we type in, let's see, hashtag or number sign, attend, like that. As you can see, it pulls up that. We put it between quotes, so it's quote, hashtag attend, end quote, and then click OK. As you can see, it has attend, and that's good. That's step 11. So right now it's at the video's at about 22 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and stop it because we're about halfway through the project. I'm gonna create another video for the second part so you can, attempt it in pieces. Thank you very much for listening, and tune in to part 2.